Hello, everyone. Welcome to Aligning with Purpose, a podcast where we explore themes of finding your true purpose, from quitting corporate, moving cities, practicing holistic health, and more. Join me as we discover our purposes together. My name is Juli, and I'm so happy you're here. Hi, Brenda. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you as well.
I found Brenda purely organically, and I am so excited to hear from her story since she has an incredible story. Brenda Lee Mattausch, she's the founder of Attuned Guidance, a genuine spiritual wisdom keeper and a mindset coach. She empowers individuals to break free from limiting belief systems, helping them reclaim their personal power and embrace a life of conscious living infused with heart coherence. Brenda reminds us that every moment is a unique opportunity to reimagine our stories and recognize the world reflects our intentions and desires, enabling us to create the reality we truly desire. I love your bio so much. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, it's going to be fun.
Before we get started, I do love to ask our guests a moment that they had this week that they saw beauty and humanity in. I'll start off with you with your beauty and humanity for the week.
Oh, yes, I had a wonderful experience that I can share. I went to get a pedicure, and I normally don't get a manicure, but on that day, I felt like I was supposed to get a manicure. And as I was sitting in the pedicure chair, I noticed there was a new manicurist that had just started with the salon, and I had my attention on her for some reason. And she was having a conversation with somebody that she was working on. And when they finished the manicure, the woman stood up to give the manicurist a hug and she pulled back. I said to the woman who turned and looked at me like was shocked, right? I said, I'm a hugger. I love hugging. I hug everybody. And so we gave each other an air hug because I was still sitting in the chair. So fast forward, I finished my pedicure and I'm sitting to get the manicure and we're having a wonderful conversation. And she says to me, why did you want to hug that lady that you didn't know? And I said, I feel connected to all beings. We're sharing a space here in the salon. And she seemed like she needed a hug. But if you don't want to hug somebody, you don't have to. And the conversation progressed for the half hour that I was with her. And she said, I'm very shy. I wasn't raised to hug. I don't understand it. I haven't done it. I don't know what to do. And I gave her a little bit of advice and I thought we were done there. And when I stood up, she stood in front of me and looked at me with so much love. And I said, would you like a hug? And she said, I'd like to try it. And she's around 26 years old. And I hugged her like I loved her. And she melted in my arms and she pulled back, and something happened within her. And she didn't say anything, but I saw her energy shift. And I paid and I left. And about 10 minutes later, I received a text message that said, you have no idea how bad I needed that hug. I think you just changed my life. And I had to pull my
Wow.
car over and I just cried for her, the fact that she had not felt that love before.
Wow, that's a beautiful moment. I feel like with what the work you're doing and just being so in tune with emotion and people's energies and doing that for her, that is so powerful and beautiful. I'm getting chills just speaking to you and hearing these experiences. My moment from the week is nowhere that magical, but we have a new subleaser now. I live with two other girls in New York City, and we had a really great connection. And I wasn't expecting that. She's a little bit younger than I am, and we also have very, different schedules. And when someone else comes into your home, I think you're a little bit more on guard. But I think us having this natural connection where we were both able to, I don't know, relate on our lives and where we want to go and our goals and our morals and all of that. I was so grateful that we met. Sometimes you just don't realize that there's different moments that you'll have in your life where you won't know because we're in the physical form where it might be meant to be or it might not be. But with meeting her, I just knew that, okay, things are working out in the universe the way they are. So it it was a moment of reflection for me to be grateful for.
Well, that's magical. Like every moment is magical. If we can learn to realize that maybe you might not think it was magical, but maybe she had the same sense that you had because she's also new into the space. Maybe it was super magical for her. But I feel like nothing is as it seems, that in every moment we just have to allow it to unfold. And when we're not judging it and labeling it, it just really, truly shows us something that we wouldn't see otherwise.
You've had a very successful career, and especially on paper, before you got into founding Attuned Business, you were in your career of aviation, you had many accomplishments, and you had prestige, accolades that came with the job. You were also chartering the royal family, celebrities. Despite all of that, what made you feel empty in working this job?
Yeah, I loved everything I did until I didn't, right? It's kind of like you're in your reality that you've created and you've reached this point where you are kind of waiting for the aha, where you're looking around going, okay, I've checked off the boxes, but there's something inside of me that's missing. For me, it was profound. I had been doing it for 3 decades, and the rock stars and the celebrities and the royal families, just wonderful people, but it just never really, it was just a job for me of setting up private jets for them. I was just good at it, right? And the day that I started really questioning everything about my life, of course, my career was one of it, my friendships was another. I felt like there has to be more. There absolutely has to be more than this. And I was in my late 40s, and I just thought, wow, is this really all that I worked for? Is just to make money and buy a house and fix it up and do this and do that. And so I started asking deeper questions, so much that the universe had no choice but to answer me. And I laugh
Uh-huh.
because the answers came in hard and fast. So, be careful what you ask, right? Be careful what you wish for.
So, by you asking, was it sort of subconscious that you're asking and it was answering you in, I guess, the things that would happen in your life? How did it manifest?
Yeah, it was out loud with a very loud voice of literally, is this it? I tend to talk out loud. I like to hear what's coming out of this mind and this mouth because it's creating my reality. So I speak out loud a lot. And it really was talking out loud, being completely frustrated, and talking to a friend who I was saying, my head's going to explode. I don't understand what life is about. This can't be it. I can't do another 30 years of just making money and buying things and flying around rock stars, right? There has to be more. And they said, well, you just need a vacation. And I said, I think I do. And they said, have you ever been to Maui? And I said, no. And when I hung up the phone, it was a yes. I have to go to Maui. And 3 days later, I was on Maui.
Wow. So you just made the decision that quickly to go. You knew and you're like, let me make that decision.
Yeah, so pretty much I make all my decisions and I have my entire life that quickly. I'm an Aries, I go fast, and I don't really ask permission or tell anybody what I'm doing until I've made the decision. I'm just that type of a personality. And so I'm on Maui and I am standing on the beach, and there's probably 100 people on the beach, and something happened. There was this energetic force around me, and it engulfed me to where even though I could see the other people on the beach, I realized I was the only one that was there in that moment. And I met a part of myself that had been with me my entire life that I was always wondering, is there more? And she appeared, and I loved her instantly. And I realized that I had made the smartest move of my life by coming to Maui. I knew I belonged there, and I knew that I was supposed to be there in that very moment. It was a deep knowing.
And when you said you met your younger self, was it a vision? Did you see it play out in front of you in the physical?
Yeah, it wasn't my younger self. It was my true self. It was my authentic, my being, my essence. It was a feeling and a visual of a light emerging around me. And I was looking around, and even though I saw other people, I knew I was the only one in this experience, that it was meant for me. And I knew I was connecting to something on this island that I couldn't understand, but that I absolutely was supposed to be there witnessing it, right? And so this was just my very first experience of, I'm expanding to something new. She's showing me what it is, and I'm all in.
I see. Before this moment, were you spiritual? Did you understand what was happening to you?
I didn't have any idea what was happening to me. I had done some self help books, and I had always kind of dabbled in to go get an oracle reading, or I was always interested for probably 15 years or more in spirituality, but I didn't truly understand it. In this moment, I didn't understand what was happening, but I knew that it was happening for me. I knew it belonged to me. And I knew that I was the only one that needed to be witness to it, because the other people around me weren't moving. They were just doing their thing. And yeah, it was a connection. It's hard to put language to these experiences, but I met a version of myself that I craved. And I feel almost as if I was an overachiever and a workaholic to try to find out who I was. And I had done that from 16 to 49. And in that moment, I didn't need any of that. I was like, I am so powerful. I just knew I was meeting a version of myself that I had always looked for.
Wow. That is so powerful. And I can relate to what you said about not being able to put words around these experiences sometimes, since when I had my spiritual awakening, when I try to verbalize and explain it to people, I can't give justice to the full story. Even a month ago or 2 months ago, I had so much anxiety where I was thinking about the things in my life and where I was going and all these things. And then I knew in my dream that night, my higher self was speaking to me, and it was just this glow and this love where there it was very direct too and not wishy-washy, like you're in the right space and you're doing the right thing, just keep going, you have the right tools and you have everything you need to keep going forward and succeed. And I woke up with so much comfort, but I knew that
Yeah.
it wasn't coming from just me because I was in the space of anxiety and fear and all of that. So that is so beautiful when you have this moment to yourself where your true self is speaking to you and it's almost inexplainable. From that moment, what was your next step? I know you stayed in Maui. What did you do with that information?
Yeah, so I was on Maui for 18 days on vacation, and I knew that I was going to live there. And so I was exploring the entire island, and I swear to you, it was heaven on earth. I kept thinking, how is this so perfect? Because I was in such a resonance with this energy that was flowing. Maui's on a vortex, and I was so connected. And I just started asking bigger questions. And I knew that I was home to heal. I was home to heal some things that had happened throughout my life that I had kind of swept under the rug. And my behavior, my response and reactions in life were because those things were suppressed, and I hadn't addressed those wounded parts of myself. And Maui offered me a chance to do that. And so I moved to Maui 5 weeks after my vacation. I came back to Florida. I locked up my house, and I just knew I had to be there. And it was the most amazing time. I wasn't fearful, and I started astro traveling very quickly. I would say within a week to 2 weeks after moving there. I went to bed one night and I said, "Show me who I am. Why am I here? I know there's more now. I'm here. I've moved to the Pacific Ocean, and I don't know anybody. I'm fine with that, but show me who I am." And I had an auric light emerge around my body while I was laying awake in bed, and I lifted out of my body in the middle of the universe, and I was so enamored with the cosmos and the stars, and I saw this light and I thought, "Oh my gosh, is that you, God? Is God real? Is that you?" And that light merged with me, and I realized that it was me. It was my light. I was meeting another higher version of myself. Not only was that light me, I was that light, but it was the source of all that is and ever will be. And I was engulfed in it. And I knew in that moment that I always had been and that I was coming home to that remembrance. And a council of 12 appeared, and they were beautiful light beings. And they told me telepathically very quickly what I had experienced and why from 0 to 49 years old, and what my mission was on this beautiful planet, and that my life was going to change. And I didn't believe it for a moment because I thought, how am I awake? And how am I in the middle of the cosmos with these beautiful beings at the same time? And so I wiggled my right big toe that let me know that I was awake, laying in bed, witnessing this. And then all of a sudden, I realized it was my consciousness that was in the middle of the universe, not me and my body. And that's when I discovered how powerful my consciousness was.
The fact that you were able to do this a week after you had this thing that happened to you in Maui where you met your true self, that is incredible that it happened so quickly. And then how often did this occur for you to connect with your higher self and consciousness?
Yeah, it was happening quite often. I would say several times a week. I would just know that I was going to go to bed, but I was going to go travel, and I wanted more. I wanted to know more. I just kept saying, "Show me more. Show me who I really am." I knew I was more than just this human being on this planet. Like I always knew that the life could be better, that people could be better. And, I'd been coaching people my whole life, trying to get them to care and be better and be kinder, right? And so I realized that I was in training for me to do all those things to myself and not worry about the others. And so what really came up in a lot of my travels was the things that I needed to dismantle for myself and everything that was triggering me. So I would literally go outside and say, all right, universe, trigger me. I want to see where I'm trapping myself. And so I really was able to dismantle my program very quickly because I took it real serious, right? I was a very analytical left brain businesswoman, and I challenged myself to learn this stuff. And so, yeah, it was always my innate calling to guide others. But what my guides were showing me was that I needed to guide myself first. I needed to heal the wounds of my past because the gifts were held inside those wounds. The gift was held in the witnessing of those wounds and my experiences, to look back on my entire journey and to see how every single person in my life had guided me, whether it was good, bad, or ugly, to the very point that I was now, to have a conscious awareness of myself. Because we're here to be aware of ourselves, not others. The others are the mere reflection of where you
Hmm.
are on your own trajectory.
I have a few follow up questions to that. The first one is you mentioned how you wanted the universe to trigger you so you understand the lessons and the healing that you needed to do. Can you give an example of one of those things that could look like? Because I know there are so many instances where we get triggered by external things, and it's truly a reflection, mirror of what we need to grow through.
Yeah, so I can share one of mine. So I always ran from conflict. I was terrified of conflict. And so, the thing about triggers is the conflict is always within us. It's always within us. And the universe, you become a vibrational match for what's ever within you. It surrounds you until so that you can see yourself, so that you can evolve yourself, right? But my way, the old way, was about holding others accountable. I mean, I could have given myself the title of accountability coach because I was always trying to correct and help and truly want to fix and solve problems, because people would complain about everything and I would just fix my life and then show up. And so people really had this assumption that I never had any issues or problems because I didn't share it with them. And that was a whole nother thing that I had to work on, to being open to vulnerability, to people see that I actually have cracks, that I actually had to heal stuff, right? But I kind of showed up as Miss Perfectionist all the time. And so because I was scared of conflict, I would let people get away with a lot of really bad behavior, right? And then after, I would resent them because I just think, how do they not know? But I never was able to emotionally express how I was feeling in the moment, right? Because I would escape that conflict. And so I wanted to learn why I did that. So, of course, the very first things that were coming into my awareness was people pushing upon opinion or conflict on me. And I would feel it in my body. I would start vibrating inside and I would think, can they see me? Can they see me? And I thought, no, right here, breathe in this moment. They're teaching me something about myself. I need to speak up. And so I really started hearing my truth and boundaries for the first time come out of my mouth. At first, I had this sense of, are they going to be mad at me? And then I cleared that real quick. I don't care what I just said. I mean it. Like, I mean what I just said. That boundary I just set was for myself, not for their approval. I can't worry if they like it or don't like it. What I just said feels right for me. What happened was I immediately noticed when I started setting boundaries that I had this diplomacy to see both sides clearer. I had more of a peace within me to know that I'm not in conflict, I'm having a conversation. And this wound had been with me since I was a child, right? Never speaking up. And what would happen is I would let it fester so long that I would just cut somebody off. I would get tired of it after a year and I would just be done. Right. And so I had to see myself in every situation. So conflict was a really big one for me to work through.
And then I know you were still in your aviation career in Maui while you were doing this work. How did you balance doing the work that you were doing in the physical, but also having this new awareness? Did you ever have conflict with your identity?
No, I did have zero conflict on my identity. And what happened was I was working on myself, and because I didn't know anybody on island, you're all alone. So my business was remote anyway. And so I'd have aircraft, up in different time zones, and in between I was doing the work. And the work happened really fast. I would say within a year, I had cleared most of the stuff that had haunted me for 50 years, right? Because I'm just, again, an overachiever and a workaholic, right? And once I started to find my balance within me, a kind of a knowing who I am without this business, COVID hit. And when COVID hit, it was the most magical year of my life because the island went silent. And it was so sweet and so quiet. And I was able to touch peace at another level that I hadn't reached. And so all my airplanes that I managed were on the ground, and all the tours for 3 months were canceled. And I was able to turn my phone off for the first time in 30 years. And I would sleep with my phone and shower with my phone. I'd answer my phone on the second, third ring. And I didn't have to do that. I would turn my phone off at night and I would go on hikes. And so, mid 2020, when the phone started ringing again and my airplane was requested to go on tour, I was no longer aligned with my industry. I was aligned with this new piece within me. And all I felt when somebody wanted the first band that wanted my airplane, all I heard was, I'm going to be on the phone 24/7 in different time zones for 3 months on this tour, and it's going to take away my peace. And so I literally decided that day to shut down my company.
Wow. And I know you said that you are an Aries, so you're able to make decisions very quickly. So there was no sense of second guessing yourself when you decided to share your company.
I had touched peace so deeply at that point that not even my mind is who's the one that's tracking. Do you have enough money? Are you sure you're too young to retire? My mind had nothing to say. I was engulfed in this peace within me that I had craved my whole life, that nothing and no one could have talked me out of it, not even my own mind.
It's so easy for us to be in our heads a lot of the times, and I think that is one of the biggest challenges, to not let your mind take over when your heart is also telling you something. And that balance is so tough. So it's incredible to hear all the healing work that you did to get to the point where you made the decision because you knew that it was the truest to you.
Yeah, when you're in your truth and when you no longer have limiting beliefs, because the mind is putting you in fear because there's a limiting belief that well, you've been doing it so long and you own the company and you're good at it. And if you don't do it, you're not going to have money, you're not going to have this, and, whatever's going to hit the fan. I had dismantled that program. I had dismantled all my limiting beliefs of myself in the outer field also. And so at this point, I'm kind of tapped into the quantum field, and the quantum field is unlimited, which means I can achieve and do anything with or without my career, with or without those clients. I can find who I am and allow that to unfold like effortlessly. There's no work at unfolding who I am. The work was dismantling the parts of myself that I was claiming that were no longer serving me, that was exhausting me, that made me work 16 hours a day and not have any personal time. It was 5 years since I had gone on vacation and I owned the company, right? And so I just started realizing that I was tapped into something bigger than me and it felt good. And as long as it felt good, I was going to keep following it.
Right. And when you stopped the company, how did you explain, not that you owed an explanation, but how did you explain that to others? And were there people that didn't understand it? And how did you navigate those relationships?
Yeah. So when I left Florida, I lost about 30 friends because they didn't understand why I was leaving what they thought was success and this great thing and moving in the middle of the Pacific Ocean where I didn't know anybody. And I had no problem with them falling away because for the first time in my life, I was choosing myself. When I left my aviation career, I had zero resistance. I made a phone call to the people that I was managing their planes. And I said, look, I found another part of myself. I'm no longer aligned with this. And I'm just going to keep following this path that I'm on now. And there was nothing but love and support and understanding. When you show up knowing who you are and knowing what you want, no one can really resist it or talk you out of it. That's where your power is, right? So I didn't go in, should I or shouldn't I, or what do you think? I don't really show up that way. I show up in my power saying, yeah, I'm done. And so it really has to be fully supported. Every decision I make is fully supported by everybody in the universe. Even if they're angry and upset, it's fully supported. It shows me the contrast that I'm on a new trajectory and they don't agree with it. And I won't leave my vibration to match theirs.
I am so glad you're saying this because people need to hear it more. And I think there's a constant battle with how you view yourself and the attachment that others give to you and you resonating with it, even though it's not yours to claim. So I think the message that you're sharing is so powerful for us to just fully claim ourselves and not to be resonant to the energy that isn't yours. How about family? Was it easy for you to also explain this newfound life that you had discovered? Or, well, not life, but, newfound discoveries that you're making? And did they understand it? Did you have to navigate any challenges with family?
Yeah, like I said, I just had full support on anybody that I had conversations with. And because I went in with, this is my decision, I've already made it, this is what I'm going to follow, and I trust it. Right. And so I think when you have that conviction, really people can't even come up with questions as to why you're doing what you're doing. They can't possibly understand. I actually don't expect anybody to understand any decision that I make anymore because I'm so fluid and I'm changing constantly. I'm, I'm an evolutionary being. I'm in an evolutionary experience. I'm allowing my soul to evolve past the things that I've already experienced and go into the unknown where it's unlimited. And because I trust myself and I trust my higher self, and the guidance of the universe, the quantum that belongs to all of us. It's our birthright to tap into this essence, this truth, this remembrance of how powerful we are. I just allow myself to be fluid and changing all the time. And I stopped seeking approval from anybody. Of course, I love my friends and I love talking with them and watching myself grow. But when you're with the right people, they really won't question
Mhm.
what you're doing. They'll just hold space and be the witness to what you're doing. They just observe you forever changing and evolving into whatever you want to be. And if you're on a vibrational match to the universe to take you on a wild ride, the people that really love you can just witness it from afar if they want to. It can just show them that it's possible for them too.
Right, right. From that moment on where you left aviation, when did you found Attuned Guidance?
Yeah, so I started coaching and I was just kind of doing it for free. And I just thought, oh, well, maybe I'm just retired young and I'm just going to coach. And I was coaching in gene keys and human design and I was learning these systems that were amazing. And I realized that as even from 6 years old, I was coaching and helping everybody. I was just doing it from the wounded part of myself. And I realized when I was showing up to coach, I was doing it from a healed version of myself. I was almost witnessing myself not only offering wisdom, but not attached to whether they took the advice or didn't, or changed or didn't. And that was new for me to witness
Mm-hmm.
myself because the old version of me expected them to change if I spent my time giving you ideas to change because you're complaining about your life, right? And so now I was just watching myself coach people, and then I had to unlearn how to work. I had to unlearn how to be in my left brain. I had to unlearn that. And so being free to just coach people without money, without profit, without worrying how much time I put in, it allowed my mind to just go, wow, she's really on a new journey. And then 2 years after that, attuned guidance kind of landed in my crown. And I just knew, oh, I'm supposed to set up attuned guidance. That's the business. But this business isn't like any of my other businesses. It's a platform for people to uncover their own truth, to have space where they can be with somebody who actually did the work. And then I just hold that vibration for them and offer it to them if they're open to receive it.
And what do you offer with Attuned Guidance?
So, attuned guidance, I do one on one personal coaching. I also do team coaching for businesses. If businesses want to learn to get out of that left brain in the box thinking and to use the quantum to make sure that everybody on the team is thriving to their best, not only inside the walls of the business, but inside the walls of their own life and merging those two with balance. And then I offer Gene Key sessions, and I have 4 courses that are online that are self discovery courses that you can take. They're lifetime access and they're 20 minutes per lesson, and they give you the tools to start a practice. To dismantling the mind, the egoic mind, to drop into the heart wisdom is it takes practice because the program has been with you your whole life, and the tools in my courses allow you the space to practice something, to catch yourself, to witness yourself when you're in an old narrative that's no longer serving you. So these courses help you create a new reality. They teach you how to raise your vibration and hold yourself accountable, and to stop asking other people to change yourself and find out who you are. Because when you change, everything around you changes.
No, that is everything you're saying is so profound and powerful. I'm thinking about all the ways that it applies to me, how I relate to everything that you're saying, and I'm just really grateful that you're sharing a message that the power lies within you, and it's important for us to continue to heal and discover that. I know we moved on, but you were in Maui and you left aviation in, I think you said 2020, and you started Attune Guidance 2 years ago, was it?
2022.
2022. And when did you leave Maui and where are you now?
Okay, so I was on Maui almost 7 years, and I'm now in Naples, Florida. And I woke up and I had this sense from my higher self that it was time to leave Maui. And there was a part of me that was like, wait a minute, I thought I would live here forever. But the same pull that pulled me towards Maui, that made me move there 5 weeks after, was the same energy, the same knowing that it was time to leave Maui. And so the synchronicities happened fast. I found a place fast. My house sold in days. I never even listed it. It was through a friend of a friend. And the sky opened up, and I knew it was time for me to reach more people. Maui's very complacent, beautiful energy. And I knew that my soul wanted me to come out and really help the collective, is really what I'm here to do. While I'm playing and having a lot of fun in my own life, I have some wisdom that can teach people how to tap into the quantum field to create whatever they want. And it's their birthright. And I'm here to share that truth.
It reminds me of when I had this inner gut knowing to move to New York. I'm from California, Los Angeles, and I just had this weird knowing to move there even without going to New York at all. So people ask when I'm moving back to LA next, or what's next for me, and I'm like, I have no idea, because I haven't found what that intuitive pull is yet. And maybe I'll be here long, maybe it'll be another location, but it was truly my intuition guiding me to come here. And everything is so unwritten right now that there is no set path on where that could be. Now that you're in Naples, Florida, and you've started your business and you've been helping people with mindset coaching, dropping into their heart, how do you help people drop into their heart, especially when they have so much trauma, their healing that they need to do? What is sort of the tangible process to make sure they are able to tap into it?
Yeah, it's really hard for people to tap into their heart, and especially once you tap in it, to stay in it. And so we call it the dismantling, right? We got to crack the program, the narrative that's playing in the subconscious mind. It's creating their reality. And so I teach people to notice what they're saying. When they say something, who said that? Is that your thought? Is that a thought that your boss put you into your mind? Was it friends or your family? Is it truly your thought? And when you're talking all day, is this how you want to live your life? Or are you just speaking from a record player that you've been playing because it sounds good? You have to start questioning every thought you're having and every word you're speaking, because it's creating your reality. And look, we're all on a quest to find who we are, remember who we are. That's really the quest that I'm on. And the universe is on your side. If you choose to show up and complain every day, then the universe loves you. You're going to get a lot of things to complain about. That's just how it works.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to show up and know who you are and you're willing to do a little bit of work, the universe will light the path. It's like your soul is your GPS. When you put an address in the car and you miss a turn, it reroutes you. That's what's happening with your soul, right? And so if you decide to go to New York or you went somewhere else, the trajectory changes. But really, where we're ending, the destination is the remembering of who we are and how powerful we are. That's the destination. We can move and go anywhere. I never know where I'm going to go, and I don't know how long I'm going to be here, because I follow the pull, because I want to expand my conscious awareness of my own power, and I want to explore life, right? I don't want to be stuck and
Right,
stagnant anymore. And so the first thing is getting someone to catch themselves in how they're thinking and speaking.
right,
That's why I created the courses, because that's redundant to keep catching yourself till you finally go, wait a minute, I'm doing this to myself. When you have that moment, you can't pretend like you didn't watch yourself doing that. And then you have to have an awareness to what's around you. Well, if this is what I'm aware all day of and I created it, I'm going to test that. I'm going to test what I created here, right? And that's where the magic lies, is the power of your free will to start questioning everything.
yeah. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us. It's definitely so important. And as someone who is also on this journey to discovering myself and doing the things that you're mentioning and trying to, but also since I'm human, there's moments where you fall back and you stay in that state. You make a few steps forward, a few steps back. And it's that, okay, how do we keep going forward? And your message is so important for us to be reminded of what you're saying every single day, and maybe when we wake up, so we have this awareness of, okay, it's truly my choice to be guided in the way that we want to go in. And like a GPS, if we're negative, we're feeling all those things, we're going to be fed all those things. So if we're looking at it from a different lens, then it's also going to feed you different things. And that's certainly something that I've had to think about a lot this year.
Yeah. And you said, well, I'm human. Well, I don't think that way anymore. I'm a multidimensional light being that comes from the very source of creation of all that is and ever will be. And I'm learning what that means more and more every day. And as that beautiful, unlimited light being that comes from God's source creator, I'm in a human experience. I'm not human. I'm in a beautiful human experience that can change any moment that I decide it can change. And I teach the tools to make that happen so that I empower each person to be able to do that. But each person has to do the work. But what's on the other side of a little bit of work is pure freedom. It's illumination from the inside, and what's within you will surround you, and your script of your life will start playing out differently. And you'll realize nothing's by chance, and you're not lucky that you're the one creating it.
No, thank you so much. This is all extremely helpful. On a final question, what does aligning with purpose mean to you?
Aligning with purpose means continuing to follow what works for me, to continue to honor everything that I feel, everything that I sense, and the knowing that I have today, which I have no idea what I'll know tomorrow. But in this present moment, what I know today, I know for me. It's my remembrance, it's my journey, and it's my conscious awareness that's going to lead me to where why I came here in the first place, which is really was my question in 2017 in Florida. Is this it? Why am I here? And so I haven't lost that desire for that question. It's just I don't ask it with confusion anymore.
Hmm.
I know it from just witnessing myself answering it every day as I go.
So, did you find the answer to that question?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm here to remember the wisdom that was offered to me from my ancestors. And once I can implement it into my own life, direct my own life, and live authentically as me through my expression, then I can offer it to those that are ready to receive a little truth, because it takes a little truth to witness yourself in your life and admit that you're the one keeping yourself in you're in the narrative that you've created.
Hmm.
And I hold space for those that are ready to do a little bit of work. And so, yeah, I'm in my dharma, I'm in my mission, and that's to help others see their own wisdom, their own power within. This wisdom that moves through me doesn't belong to me; it belongs to the collective. And I'm here to, share it with those that are ready.
So beautiful and so powerful. Thank you so much, Brenda. This was
Thank you
such an
so much.
enlightening session, and
Oh my gosh, thank you.
I will be thinking about this all day today, and I'm excited to hear more and check out your courses. Where can listeners find you?
Oh, you can go to attunedguidance.com, and all my sessions and courses are on there. And you can find me on Instagram at Attuned Guidance.
Got it. And I'm going to go ahead and share that in the show notes so everyone can find it easily.
Thank
And
you.
I was feeling chills. The chills haven't stopped during our recording, and I'm just so grateful that we're connected here today.
Yeah, and really this feeling that you're feeling, that I feel, and that I feel with the girl that needed a hug, this is our currency. This energy exchange, this wisdom, this knowing, it's the new currency. It's what's going to expand consciousness and expand the world to be more connected instead of so divided.
I'm at a loss for words. I'm just feeling so much love from within right now,
Oh,
and I'm
good.
so
That's
grateful.
beautiful. Yeah, good. Yes. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited to share this out with everyone. And you can find this podcast on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcast. It's going to be Aligning with Purpose. And if you want to find this on socials, you can find it on Instagram and TikTok at aligningwithpurpose.pod or at Juli Yoshi. And I'm so excited to share Brenda's story with everyone and catch you guys all at the next one. Thank you so much, Brenda.
Thank you. Thanks so much.